So welcome to our Tuck Shop network meeting, the first one of the year. It's actually been 12 months since I did my first one ever for Quast to the day. So thanks for having me back again this year. I really do enjoy running these meetings. So as you would know, the topic today is about food safety in your tuck shop. So it is quite an extensive topic. What we don't get through, I can touch base on another day or send you through some info about it anyway. So we do, these sessions are recorded. So I just ask everyone to have their microphones on mute if you can, just because Zoom does pick up a little bit of extra background noise. And Chrissy also asked if people could pop in the chat what school they're from. We just provide some data to Health and Wellbeing Queensland, not who's attended or what school you're from, but just we give like an overall view of where we're reaching tuck shops across Queensland. And so some of the names just come up as tuck shop, and so it's good if we can then cross-reference, where everyone's dropping in from. So before we get started though, I, along with my colleagues here at Quast, just wish to acknowledge the traditional owners and the lands on which we meet today. I respect elders past, present and emerging, and I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. I also like to think about how people from these cultures have been meeting for thousands of years to talk about what to feed their children and the health of their communities. So I'm honoured that we can continue to do this, and I hope that we can continue this legacy in a respectful way. I'm presenting from Meanjin, the traditional land of the Turrbal people. So if you haven't met me at one of these meetings or met me out and about, I'm Naomi and I'm the project manager for the Healthy Tuck Shops program. I'm also the lucky girl that gets to travel around and spend time on the ground with you wonderful people out and about in tuck shops. I am a dietitian by trade, and I have a background in health where I've worked with and in rural and remote communities all across Australia. I have 3 school-aged daughters with insatiable appetites who are more than happy to share their very honest opinion of any recipe I make at home before it hits the Quast website. And you can find me at Quast on Mondays through to Thursdays. My contact details are on the screen. However, I'll email out everybody once we've finished anyway, so you can keep my details handy should you need them. So I'm going to run these sessions very similar to the way I ran it last year. That seemed to work well, where I just give a really quick Quast update. We have been very busy over the summer, so I'll try and keep that section quite brief. I present a topic, which today is about food safety in the tuck shop. It is a massive topic. We're not going to get through it all today, but I've just decided on to focus on some of the things that tuck shops really struggle with, as well as a few questions that I often get asked. So I thought that was a good starting point. If we do have time, we will have some question and answers. But if we do run out of time for that, you can send me through any questions that you have, either phone, email, or pop it on that Tuck Shop Conversations Facebook page. And as I said, just have your microphones on mute. If you've got a question, feel free to come off mute and ask. If it can't wait till the end, that's all good. So just a bit of since it is the first one of the year, and you might be new to the tuck shop space or new to these catch-ups, I just thought I'd briefly explain who we are and what we do. So Quast is a not-for-profit member organisation that was established over 20 years ago to support Queensland school tuck shops and their staff. We're a small but mighty team of 4 part-timers, which is quite crazy actually when you think about the volume of work that we that we produce. So Karen is at the helm and she's our executive director. Her experience and background is in business, nutrition, teaching and the food safety sector. Karen's our admin manager and she's worked for the organisation for over 20 years. So she does know a thing or two about Tuckshops. Chrissy is our comms marketing website guru. When she's not at Quast, she can be found at her local school where she works as a teacher aide. And she also spends some time in the tuck shop and with her P&C as well. And I've already given a little bit of a background about me. We also report regularly back to a management committee that's made up mostly of conveners from across the state. So they come from high school, primary school, state and non-state schools. So we report back to them every couple of months. Just let someone else in. All right. So some of what does Quast do? So we support schools to run healthy, profitable tuck shops and canteens through a range of resources, training, services and ongoing support directly to tuck shop staff, P&Cs, executives, schools, anyone who's involved in the operation of a tuck shop can give us a call. Some of this support and resources is available for free thanks to funding we receive from Health and Wellbeing Queensland and the Department of Education, whereas other offerings will be for members only. So why do we kind of run off a membership model? The association does rely on memberships to stay afloat. So paying a nominal membership fee, which is based on your school size, ensures that you have that ensures that there's a range of resources available to support schools run businesses efficiently. The volume of resources is pretty amazing. I sometimes forget what's there, and we are constantly adding to it all the time. So it's definitely worth your while to go and have a look at what is there, and if your school is not a member, to bring it up with your business manager or your P&C, because it's definitely worth the investment. We did receive feedback last year through our annual tuck shop survey about Quast not travelling to certain regions as a barrier to membership. And in the past, yes, travel has been a huge hurdle as our operating budget is really tiny. However, we are absolutely committed to travelling, travelling regionally and taking services, training and these events to places all over Queensland. So if you want us to come to your area, please let us know. We'll plan those regional trips based on interest in people wanting us to come along. So we love visiting schools. We get so much out of it. So please, if you want us to come and visit or come nearby, or you've got some ideas, please absolutely let us know. So just a little bit of an update. So as I said before, we worked very hard over the summer break to add to our resources. So there's a range of new resources and updated ones on our website. I'm not going to read them all out for you, but some of the big ticket items probably include we have an updated tuck shop policy and procedure list that has a range of examples and templates added to it. We've updated the position descriptions for the convener. We've added a retail manager position description and also added the canteen or tuck shop assistant position descriptions there. So if you or your staff don't have a current position description, it is really important that you have one. And so we encourage you to, you can grab this example, make it applicable to your tuck shop, and then talk about it with your business manager or your P&C exec. Another big ticket item, which most of you probably know about already, is that we did a food safety plan template. So a lot of schools, they don't have a food safety plan. So we made a template that you can adjust and adapt to your school. We'll talk about this one a little bit shortly because it does come under food safety as well. And then there's a couple of new free resources that did get published as part of that Health and Wellbeing Queensland funding, one about calcium and dairy alternatives, and another one about the neurodiversity in your tuck shop, which we did talk a little bit about last year. So we finally got that one approved. So that's really exciting because there's nothing like that that exists for canteens or tuck shops anywhere in the country. So if there's a resource that you're looking for and you can't find it, please let us know. There's a good chance that someone else will find it valuable. And in that tuck shop survey I mentioned before, we did ask people to list topics and resources that they will find valuable in meeting their tuck shop goals for this year. So we've got that feedback, we've got it on a list, and we're going to work through it. So thank you for that feedback. So the recipes, if you haven't already had a look on the website, we've got a bunch of recipes there and they're available for free for everybody to access. There's a few new ones that have made it up on the site this year. So the first one is a pantry pasta salad. It's got a bit of a Mexican vibe to it, but it can be made from ingredients that are all shelf stable in your pantry. So the idea of this one is if you have an issue with a delivery or a supplier, you can still get a dish made and out for service because all of the ingredients can come from your pantry. The teenagers in my house like to add some sweet chili sauce to this one. They also wanted to call it Doomsday Pasta, but we went with pantry pasta salad instead. There's some double strawberry muffins there that use both strawberries and strawberry yogurt to create that delicious strawberry flavour. You could use frozen strawberries for this one as well, or you could potentially change it up based on season availability and preference. I think like a passion fruit one would be really good, but I haven't had the chance to try that one out yet. And we also have a chicken supreme pizza. This was one of the entries from our recipe of the year last year from Emma at Ipswich State High. So it's made it to the website as well. If you've been to these before, you've probably heard me talk about pizza and how I love seeing freshly made pizzas on menus. So we do try and constantly add recipes to the website as people often tell us they want to see them, they enjoy seeing them. So we do try and keep a steady stream of them hitting the website. If you do find an error in a recipe, please let me know. I do have it on my list to go through and do a bit of a clean out and check all of those old recipes. But I just never seem to get to the bottom of my to-do list. So if you find an error, ingredients missing or something, please just let me know and I can go and have a look at it. That's no worries at all. So straight into food safety. So one of the first questions I always get is, do we need to have a food safety supervisor on site? So if you are working in a state school, you are exempt to this Queensland government requirement. If you are working in a non-state school, you are required to have a food safety supervisor on site. This doesn't necessarily need to be the convener, though it makes sense for it to be the convener. It could be a retail manager or the business manager. To obtain a certificate in this food safety supervisor, you need to complete a course through an accredited RTO, and upon sign-off, they will give you a certificate that lasts for 5 years. We have previously delivered this course on behalf of an RTO, but late last year, that RTO decided not to be one anymore. So we are looking for a new provider who will work with us to deliver this course specifically for Tuckshops. So if you are needing this exact course, please let us know, and we can either direct you in to someone who might be able to do it for you, or let you know how we are progressing with getting another RTO on board. We did develop a course to help fill this gap, which I will talk about at the end of the presentation. So food safety plan that I just briefly touched on before. Again, this is a requirement if you're in a non-state school, as it does form part of your food licensing agreement. We also consider it best practice for all schools. So we do recommend that people have a food safety plan. So these plans outline all the food safety expectations to happen in your tuck shop. So this can be whether it's about professional development, certification, when the temperatures are going to be checked, and actions to take if there is a food safety breach. These food safety plans may also include like anaphylaxis management, or they might be recorded in a separate policy. So food safety plans are important as they can have all the necessary information about food safety in one place. Like all policies, it takes the personal out of staff and volunteer management. So if a staff member refuses to do a food safety course, you can refer them back to the policy to say, listen, this is a condition of your employment. I'm just not asking you to do it because I feel like it. So they are really important from that point of view as well. Also, if a parent makes a complaint about the food, you can discuss with them the processes that are undertaken around providing safe food from your tuck shop. Having a document and checklist to back up what you're saying is invaluable, and it does help safeguard your tuck shop from that complaint going any further. In saying that, though, it is really important that if you do get a food safety complaint, that you listen and investigate that situation if need be. So, as I said, yep, we've got a template for this. So, if you would like if you're a member and you'd like a copy of it, just shoot me through a quick email and I can send that back to you. Or it was a link to it was included in our member newsletter that went out last week. So we often get asked whether all staff should have food safety training, and so the short answer is yes. So we would recommend that all staff and volunteers complete some degree of food safety training. So we have a free safe food handling course that's available on our website. And so we recommend that you ask staff or volunteers to complete this on their induction and annually, particularly if they're regular volunteers. I often also suggest that the P&C executives complete this training as well, so that they have an understanding of what's being asked of the tuck shop when it comes to food safety expectations. Yes, so if you're going to access this course on our website, we just encourage everybody, all of your staff and volunteers, to set up their own login. That way, when they complete the course, they get a certificate that's got their name on it. It does say on the website that it takes 1 to 2 hours. It doesn't. It's actually much quicker than that, particularly if people are using it as a bit of a refresher. I did have one school tell me that when they get all of their volunteers to do it, they offer a morning tea, and then they sit down and give the volunteers a morning tea. They use the school iPads and they all sit down and work through the course together, which I thought that was a really nice idea. And then everyone gets done at the same time. And so it is important for you to keep a list of the staff and the volunteers that have completed it and when they did, so you know when they're kind of due for that renewal.
Can you just wash out here? It's a bit sticky.
Sorry?
It's all right, sorry. I was talking to the cleaner.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to miss her.
No worries, all good. All right, so temperature logs. So it's important that daily temperature logs are maintained for all hot and cold equipment. So for cold equipment, we recommend that you check this first thing in the morning as a minimum. And best practice also suggests that you check it again when service is finished, to make sure your equipment can maintain temperature throughout preparation and service. Often staff will glance at temperatures as they're going about their preparation and daily duties, which is a great habit to be in. But it's also important that we write it down and keep that record for 12 months in case you do get a food safety complaint. Electronic loggers are available that can keep this data on an app and can alert you through a notification if the power goes out or if temperature is not maintained. So if you run a big tuck shop operation and carry a lot of stock, would definitely suggest that you have some electronic system in place. If you're a smaller operation, just discuss with your business manager or your PNC whether something like that is suitable for the volume of stock that you carry. In terms of temperature logs for hot equipment, so hot hold needs to be kept at 60 degrees or higher, and most hot holds have an external gauge or a digital reading, again, that you can just glance as you walk past. However, it's still important to randomly and regularly check the temperature of different foods within your hot box or your hot hold to ensure that it's maintaining its heat evenly. So record these temperatures again, just have a clipboard on the magnet on the side of it or somewhere close to keep a record of those temperatures, and then just keep that on file for 12 months. Do not reheat food in the pie warmer. So the pie warmer or the hot hold, the process is too slow for that reheating process. So you need to reheat it in the oven or the microwave and then move it across to your hot hold to keep that temperature maintained. So to help with temperature record keeping, we do have some temperature logs available on our website that you can adjust to your school and then print them off. And so we do request that people keep those logs for 12 months in case a complaint does come through at some point down the track. So you may have seen this image before. It's one from Queensland Government, and it's telling us that bacteria can't grow in food if it's stored under 5 degrees or if it's kept above 60 degrees. What it doesn't show, however, is that raw food needs to be cooked to 75 degrees or higher in order for bacteria that might be present in that food to be killed. So for example, if you're making a pasta bolognese, which is very popular all across the state in tuck shops, you need to cook the meat sauce to a temperature that's greater than 75 degrees as you're cooking it. You safely store it in the fridge or the freezer, and then you can reheat it to 60 degrees ready for service. So you would reheat that in the oven or the microwave and then store it in your hot hold. This is another image from Queensland Government that you might have come across before. It refers to the 2-hour, 4-hour rule, which people often get confused about, including myself. So it's saying that if your food is not held at the correct temperature, it's considered being in the danger zone, as shown in the last slide. So that means if it's between 5 and 60 degrees, that's the danger zone. And so if you pull it out of the fridge and pop it on the bench, technically that's going to be, it's in the danger zone, but it's all about the time that you leave it on the bench. So if your food is out of temperature range for under 2 hours, it's okay to use or put it back in the fridge. So for example, you come in, you're going to make your sandwiches after you've looked at your orders. So you grab the ham and the cheese out of the fridge. It's fine to make your sandwiches and then put it back in the fridge because it's going to be under that 2-hour mark. If it's been over 2 hours though, but under 4 hours, you can use it, but you can't put it back in the fridge. If it's been over 4 hours, it has to be thrown away. So if we use our sandwich example, if someone comes in the morning, at 9 a.m. and gets everything out to make the sandwiches, but then they forget to put it back in and no one realizes until 2 o'clock, then that's been 5 hours. So your ham has to get chucked away then. It can't go back into the fridge and be used tomorrow. Um, I often also get asked about the time that a food is kept in hot hold. So technically, if it's held at a temperature greater than 60 degrees, it's considered safe. However, it might not be the nicest if it's stayed in hot hold all day. So we kind of need to follow manufacturer's instructions, but also we do recommend that people reheat and pop it in that hot hold as close to service as you can, just so then it's going out as nice as it possibly can be. And I was also asked recently about giving away food at the end of the day. So again, as long as it's kept at safe temperatures, this is fine. From a business point of view, though, you don't want to be giving away too much food at the end of the day, because that's no money going into your bank account. So from like a costing and a waste point of view, we want to try and make the food that we're going to need and sell, or reheat the food that we're going to need and sell for that day. Also, once that meal leaves the tuck shop, it's kind of out of your control. So you might give it to a staff member and then they let it sit in their car for 4 hours before they eat it. So you have no control over that. I would hate for you to get the blame if that staff member got sick, even though it sat in their car for 4 hours. So yes, so I guess just be mindful and decide what your school wants to do in terms of like if you're giving food away. On that note, again, you can really only control the environment inside your tuck shop, how you store, prepare, reheat, and serve food, and make sure it's, ensuring that it's done in a safe manner. The chances of there being, if you do all the right things, the chances of there being a food safety complaint is very minimal. And if you've got the documentation to back you up that says this is our policy, this is when we check temperatures, here's our temperature audits, again, like you're safeguarding the tuck shop. You can't control little Johnny only eating half of his lasagna and then letting it sit on the top of his bag until second break for the possums and whatever else to have a little bit of a go of. But you can control everything up to that lasagna heading out to little Johnny. And I can see some questions in the chat, so I will come back to them because we've just got a couple more slides. So home bake and food safety. So when I talk about home bake, I often get mixed reactions. So some conveners love it and others hate it, and they really worry about the food safety aspect of home bake, which is completely understandable. So if you don't know what home bake is, it's a good option for those who might not have the time to physically come and volunteer in the tuck shop or at the school, but they're still keen to volunteer and contribute. So they might bake some goods at home for then you to sell in the tuck shop. So the premise is 100% of the profit then goes to your tuck shop because the goods are being voluntarily made and donated. So if you are going to do a home bake, run a home bake, we absolutely suggest that you stick to low risk baked goods, things like muffins, slices and biscuits. Ensure that you provide the recipe and appropriate food safety information for home bacon for your school. And make sure you keep a log of all donated items using the donated goods. There is a donated goods log, a donated goods template that is on the Quost website. There's also that picture on the screen there is, we've got a home bake guide that is available for members on the website as well. So, gloves. So, we often get questions like, do tuck shop staff have to have gloves on? Should they have gloves on? Or they're not having gloves on? Are they meant to? So sometimes gloves give you a false sense of security that you have clean hands because you can't feel that your hands might be soiled. So we do recommend, like, hand washing and not using gloves and just using utensils, and having clean hands to maintain food safety when you're doing preparation. However, there is times where you are required to use disposable gloves. So if you've got an injury or a wound on your hand, you do need to be wearing disposable gloves. Likewise, if you've got false or fake nails, you need to be wearing gloves, or encouraging your volunteers to be wearing gloves, or if your food policy says that you need to wear gloves. So you change gloves regularly if they become soiled or damaged when leaving the work area and then coming back in. And if you answer the phone, touch your face, pick something up off the floor, you've got to change your gloves out. All of those same parameters where you would be washing your hands as well. You still need to wash your hands when you're using gloves anyway, because you need to wash your hands before you put gloves on and then when you take them off. So wearing gloves doesn't take away from the need to be washing our hands anyway. So this is the last slide, I guess. So on the screen there are just some of those things that I've already mentioned. We do have a food safety for school tuck shops course. It's $199. We developed this one to help fill the gap before, while there's no food safety supervisor course. We're running that online and face to face. There's a couple of dates on the slide. We are also happy to come out to your school and do this. So if you've got a big, lots of staff or volunteers and you want everyone to have this training, let us know, because we, can talk about coming out and doing it out and about at your school as well. The Safe Food Handlers course, that was the one I mentioned. That's ideal for volunteers or staff, and the P&C, it's free online. It's self-paced. They log in and log out as time permits. And I've just popped the allergy training course on there as well, which I have talked about in the past, as it just offers, I guess, an allergy lens to food safety. So this is a course that we absolutely recommend conveners and managers do. Again, it's self-paced, it's free, it's run by the Allergy and Anaphylaxis Group of Australia. And they've got lots of modules there, but that one is, the one we've got on the website is suitable to school canteens. And we do have a lot of QWOST websites pertaining to food safety as well. All right, so I can just we will be doing the food safety supervisor course in Cairns, yes, when we head there in a couple of weeks. We've just had the school confirmed, so we will be sending out an update for that one, Angela. And I think, what about if a non-state school, not-for-profit, is regarded food safety supervisor? So if you're in a non-state school, you are still required to have a food safety supervisor certificate. Yeah, it's only state schools that are exempt from that Queensland government requirement. Is there any other questions or anything anyone else can think of? I am mindful that I've rushed through it and we've still gone over time. But I'll email out everyone the slides and some links in my email. Absolutely feel free to come back and if you've got any other questions and queries. So we won't be having a Zoom meeting in 2 weeks as we're going to be in Cairns. So we will be running a Tuckshop Network meeting at Trinity Beach State School. So the next Zoom one is in week 8, which is going to be all about must-have menu items. And yeah, as always, yeah, shout out if you've got any questions or queries or feedback. Happy to take it. And thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great week, fortnight, month, and yeah, we'll see everybody soon.